The ocean has always been a place of mystery. Vast, silent, and unforgiving. But every so often, something happens out there that defies logic, something that leaves even seasoned sailors shaken to their core. In 1947, a chilling distress signal echoed across the waters near the Strait of Malacca. Multiple ships picked up the same desperate message. It began with a haunting phrase, "All officers including captain are dead, lying in chartroom and bridge, possibly whole crew dead." Then came a pause. And a final, terrifying transmission. "I die, no coordinates. No explanation. Just silence." What rescuers would soon discover aboard a ship called the SS Ourang Medan would become one of the most disturbing maritime mysteries ever recorded. This is the story of the Ourang Medan. When nearby vessels received the distress call, one American ship, the SS Silver Star, responded immediately. The crew altered course and raced toward the source of the signal. Hours later, they spotted it. A drifting cargo ship, eerily still against the open sea. No smoke from the funnels. No crew visible on deck. Just silence. At first glance, nothing seemed damaged. No signs of collision. No distress signals being actively sent. But something felt wrong. A boarding party was assembled. Armed with caution and curiosity, several crew members climbed aboard the Ourang Medan. What they found would haunt them for the rest of their lives. Bodies. Everywhere. The entire crew was dead. But it wasn't just the deaths that disturbed them, it was how they died. The captain was found on the bridge, slumped over, his face frozen in an expression of pure terror. Officers lay scattered nearby, their bodies rigid, their eyes wide open as if they had seen something unimaginable in their final moments. Below deck, it was even worse. Sailors were sprawled across the floor, in hallways, near machinery. Some appeared to be reaching out toward something, or trying to escape it. But there were no visible injuries. No wounds. No blood. Even the ship's dog was found dead, baring its teeth, frozen mid-snarl. It looked as if something invisible had swept through the ship, killing everyone instantly, leaving behind nothing but fear etched into lifeless faces. And yet, there was no sign of struggle. No evidence of poison. No damage to the ship itself. The boarding crew began to feel uneasy. The air felt thick, unnatural. Then something changed. One of the rescuers noticed a sudden drop in temperature in the cargo hold. It was as if parts of the ship were unnaturally cold, despite the tropical heat outside. Moments later, smoke began seeping up from below deck. At first, it was faint. Then it grew thicker. Realizing the danger, the boarding party rushed back to their boat. They barely made it off the ship before disaster struck. Without warning, the Ourang Medan exploded. A massive blast tore through the vessel, sending flames high into the sky. Within minutes, the ship sank beneath the waves, taking every clue with it. No survivors. No wreckage to examine. No definitive answers. Just a story, and a mystery that refuses to die. Now, before we dive deeper into the clues and theories, take a second to subscribe to Shadow Files and hit the like button. It helps more people discover these forgotten mysteries, and you won't miss the next case that might keep you up at night. So what do we actually know about the Ourang Medan? That's where things get even stranger. There are no official records confirming the ship's existence in major shipping registries. No clear ownership. No confirmed cargo manifest. It's as if the ship itself might not have officially existed. Most of the information we have comes from scattered reports, including articles published years later and accounts from sailors who claimed to be involved in the rescue. Some versions of the story place the incident in 1947. Others say it happened in 1948. The location is generally consistent, somewhere near the Strait of Malacca, one of the busiest shipping lanes in the world. And yet, despite the scale of the event, there are no detailed government investigations on record. No recovered bodies. No black box. No official explanation. Just fragments. And those fragments raise more questions than answers. Why were the bodies frozen in expressions of terror? Why were there no visible injuries? What caused the sudden explosion? And perhaps most importantly, what exactly was on that ship? Let's look at the clues. First, the distress signal itself. It was unusually calm, almost clinical at first, describing the deaths of the officers. Then it abruptly shifted to a personal message, "I die," that suggests the operator was alive long enough to witness what happened, and knew death was imminent. Second, the condition of the bodies. Witnesses consistently described the same eerie detail: wide eyes, open mouths, and rigid limbs. Almost as if they had been instantly paralyzed by fear or something even worse. Third, the sudden temperature drop in certain areas of the ship. That's not something easily explained, especially in tropical waters. And finally, the explosion. Whatever happened on board didn't just kill the crew, it triggered a catastrophic event that destroyed the ship entirely. So what could explain all of this? There are several theories. The first, and most widely accepted, is toxic gas. Some believe the Ourang Medan was secretly transporting dangerous chemicals, possibly even illegal substances like potassium cyanide or nitroglycerin. If these chemicals leaked, they could have created deadly fumes. Inhaling such gases could kill quickly, sometimes leaving victims with expressions of distress. It could also explain why the rescuers felt uncomfortable and why the ship later exploded. But there are problems with this theory. Chemical poisoning doesn't typically freeze people in place with such uniform expressions. And it doesn't explain the sudden drop in temperature. The second theory involves carbon monoxide. If there was a malfunction in the ship's engines, it could have filled the vessel with odorless, deadly gas. Carbon monoxide poisoning can kill silently and quickly. But again, it doesn't fully explain the terror on the victims' faces, or the explosion that followed. The third theory is far more unsettling. Some believe the crew encountered something unknown. Paranormal explanations suggest the ship may have been affected by an unexplained force. Something that caused fear so intense it killed them where they stood. Stories of ghost ships have existed for centuries. Vessels found drifting with no living crew, as if abandoned by life itself. But the Ourang Medan doesn't fit neatly into that category. Because here, the crew didn't vanish. They died. And they died afraid. Another theory points to espionage. In the aftermath of World War II, secret operations were not uncommon. Some believe the ship may have been involved in transporting classified or dangerous materials, possibly chemical weapons. If something went wrong, it could explain why records were suppressed, why no official investigation exists, and why the ship's history is so unclear. But again, this theory relies heavily on speculation. And then there's the final possibility. That the story itself might not be entirely real. Some historians argue that the Ourang Medan is a maritime myth, a tale that grew over time through retellings and exaggeration. But even if parts of the story were embellished, where did it begin? Why do multiple accounts share the same chilling details? And why does it feel so real? Because at its core, the story taps into something deeply human. The fear of the unknown. The idea that somewhere, out in the vast emptiness of the ocean, something can happen that we can't explain. Something that leaves no trace, no evidence, no answers. Just silence. So what do you think really happened aboard the Ourang Medan? Was it a tragic accident involving toxic chemicals? A secret operation gone wrong? Or something far more mysterious, something we're not meant to understand? Let me know your theory in the comments. I read every single one. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into one of the ocean's darkest mysteries, don't forget to subscribe to Shadow Files and turn on notifications. Because the next story might be even more disturbing. Out there, somewhere beneath the waves, the truth about the Ourang Medan still waits. And maybe it's better if it stays buried.